Crew. What is happening, everybody? Hey, Lori, Udo, Michael, franchise in the house. Hirsch, Michael Mazza, and Michael Flush. What's happening, everybody? What's going on? Can you guys hear me? Let me know you can hear me. Got the mic on, rock and roll. Alan, what's happening, man? How you guys and gals doing this evening? Happy Saturday. Can you guys hear me? Jeffrey in the house. Jeffrey Bogdan, what's good, man? What is happening? What is happening? Loud and clear. Beautiful. Beautiful. No lockout here, baby. No lockout on this channel. What's happening? Jared, Anthony 527 in the house. Chuck Furious. What's happening, man? Thanks. Well, I appreciate that, Chuck, man. Thanks for your support, and thanks for making the channel better, man. I appreciate you. Enzo, what's happening, man? Scungili. What's happening, man? How we doing? Jorge in the house too. Got my Yankee hoodie on here. The swag. William. Yeah, I spent the day with my family today. My mom, my sister, and my niece and nephew, brother-in-law, and helped my mom put together some furniture. So it was a really good day. Really, really good day. Mateo's in the house too. 161 Mafia. That's right, man. Always, baby. Lori, I'm working on it. I'm working on merch. I assure you, I've already looked into it, and I'm trying to see what I can feasibly do. But I'm thinking of just starting with some T-shirts first. Is there any particular merch that you think I should do beyond T-shirts? Jorge, Yankee fans in Texas, nothing wrong with that, man. Welcome everywhere. The great state of Texas. Michael, what's happening? Marcel in the house. Gitmo Bob, what's happening, man? Guess we know who can't get a date. This is our date night, okay? This is our date night. Sweatshirt too? Hoodies like this? Like 161 Mafia hoodies? Is that what we want, Lori? T-shirts start, yeah. Ooh, coffee cups and hats. I like the coffee cup idea. I never even thought of that. That's a great idea. Fantastic idea. I like it, Lori. Mafia's right. Date away. My usual date night is Friday, but my wife's not feeling well right now, so she's lying down relaxing. So, our usually date night is Friday night. Diehard Phillies fan. I appreciate that, Jason. I mean, my wife's a diehard Phillies fan. She's from PA. And the live streams, I have a lot of fun with you folks, so I'm glad you like them. And it's funny. I still have Correa predicted to the Phillies. So, and if they do make a trade, my guess is it'll probably be for Mullins and not Reynolds, just for interleague trade. That'd be my guess. But they could. I mean, they have freaking their GM now, Dave Dombrowski. He's bold. He's ballsy. He's not afraid to make big moves. So I expect him to come out swinging after this lockout. So there's no doubt about it, man. Proud to have you, Michael, man. Thank you for being part of the mob, man. Cubs fan in the house. What's happening, Michael? Dude, you know what? I mean, they're slowly making moves too, the Cubs. I didn't expect Gomes. I didn't expect Clint Frazier. And I could see them making a big move or two also. So I can definitely see it. The Cubs, I mean, they're set up. I mean, they got rid of a lot of payroll and they're set up. So to spend a little bit. Anthony, what's happening? Butters is in the house. What's happening, Butters? Jared, I think at the end of the day, I think it's going to be Trevor's story. I think he's a better value than Correa. And I think his skill set is more suited for the Yankees. His versatility is more suited. He won't block guys like Volpe or, Peraza if he doesn't get traded, or Oswaldo Cabrera if he doesn't get traded. So I like him because he plays multiple positions. And again, being half the price allows the Yankees to spend the money to address other holes, which they have. They have multiple holes. So, and Correa doesn't fill all the holes. So, I mean, neither does Story, but Story won't clog up their payroll either for a decade. So, that'd be my guess. Anthony, I think Trevor Story, and I think they're gonna. either sign Carlos Rodon or trade for a starting pitcher. I would still be looking at as an Arizona trade, like a Carson Kelly and Zach Gallen, or Ketel Marte and Zach Gallen, like a multiplayer trade with the Diamondbacks. I think would be a good thing for the Yankees. 7 years, 250. It's a lot of money, but I mean that's what 30. Yeah, my God, 35, a little more than 35 per. GM, a little more than 35 per. But he's going to get it. He's going to get it. I mean, that's probably right around the ballpark. That'd be my guess for Judge. It really would be. If we don't upgrade the rotation, who do I see? Cole. Who do I see as a 1 through 5? Cole, probably Montgomery, Tyone. I'm not including Severino until he proves he can be healthy in the bullpen and then moving him up. But once he's up, I think he can go up to the number 2. But I worry about his injury history now. So we Cole, Montgomery, Tyone, Nestor, and then a 5th is going to be open. Probably Hill, Luis Hill. I think he's got a shot at making it. So something like that. But we need depth. We really need depth. So that's why I've been saying like they should get 2 starting pitchers no matter what this offseason, because there's always guys that go down in this rotation. So always. Longer lockouts hurt or help. I think the longer lockout right now is going to probably I think it's going to hurt and help. I think it's going to hurt the game, but I think it's going to help the Yankees because it gives Cash more time to plot. And I do expect these guys to become right out the gates. Once they have an idea what the luxury tax threshold is going to be, let's just say it moves, because MLB, the union, they want to move up from 210 to 240, which gives them a lot more latitude. The Yankees can spend that much more money and not go over. So at that point, if it gets up to that, I could see Cash for me probably making 2 big moves and still moving some guys in trades too to offset a little bit of payroll money. So I could still see Voit being moved. If they make a trade with Arizona or something like that, I could see Sanchez being moved to the National League team as a DH if they adopt DH. So there's still things that could be moved. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be hurtful to the game only because, so much revenue that'll be lost, and after missing a whole bunch of, revenue already due to COVID, I don't think it's going to be really helpful. So Christopher, what's happening, man? But yeah, I mean, this is why, like I kept saying, the Yankees would have been well off to be aggressive early, not necessarily for the big names, because there's a lot of big names still available, but a lot of role players to kind of fill those positions, because there's a lot of these positions that need to be filled, and then they can kind of focus and strike hard later on. I mean, whether the threshold is 210 or 240, they still need to fill holes. So I would have filled holes with probably like a Chris Taylor or Eddie Rosario, guys like that, and they didn't do that. So I was a little surprised. To be honest with you. But I think a longer lockout's going to help. I mean, as long as it's not that 230-day strike they had in 94, 95, where they had replacement players in 95 for a little while. That sucked. So I hope it doesn't get to that point. But when you have uber rich people fighting for more power, it's just this what happens. So stick a fly swatter and talk to her behind her plane. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Somebody put up a donut. I'm going to get to that 1 second. I'm just trying to catch up with the scroll. I appreciate who sent that out. Would I trade for? Yes, I would trade for Olsen and Mania. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. At the end of the day, Angel, I mean, I don't know what happened with Verlander's contract. I don't know. Like 2.5 weeks, and it's still not official. So I'm not exactly sure what happened. If there's something popped up in his physical, I'm not sure, to be honest. So we're going to find out. But I mean, it could be an attempt to try to get more money. So, and I just don't know. I don't know. So it'll be interesting. But if he's back out on the market, I expect Cashman to be aggressive. It's your boy. Thank you so much, man. Hope you're doing good, sir. Watching The Christmas Story. That's one of my favorite Christmas movies. Oh, fudge. It's like the best scene ever. But I always enjoy your live streams, man. Cold, yeah, it's cold, bro. It's in the 30s, man. It's cold. Hope the lockout ends, but I hope it ends before that. Manfred's saying he hope he doesn't win games. That would suck to have a lockout that long. I mean, but it's going to be contentious, and these folks are not on the same page, unfortunately. So they need to get on the same page. So, But yeah, I do too. But I appreciate that. It's your boy. And Marcel, I appreciate you too. Thank you so much. Do I think a pitch clock would be agreed upon in the new CBA as a means to improve pace of play, make games more appealing to casual and younger fans? Probably. I'm not a fan of the robot umps. I think that's going to take a lot of the human effect out of the game. So I hope that never happens. Robot umps. That'd be kind of silly. And I could see them malfunctioning and stuff like that. So what happens then if it malfunctions? Like, it's going to be completely nuts. So, but I could see the pitch clock, being agreed upon. I could see that. I could see the DH being agreed upon. I could see probably the compromise, letting players get to arbitration through 2 years instead of 3. Let them get to free agency a year earlier. I don't think that ceiling is going to happen. The $100 million payroll ceiling. Floor. Sorry, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think the union will ever go for it. But I mean, personally, I think a good idea would be to make an adjustment in revenue sharing so that the big market teams who give a lot of money in revenue sharing, when you share them with the smaller market teams who, it should be required that they spend the money they get, the free money, on actually players and making the team better instead of whatever they do, pocketing it or luxury boxes, whatever they do. That should be mandatory, that they spend revenue sharing from other teams on players. Invest in the team, invest in the product, which would go towards like a increase in the ceiling, the salary cap floor. Like, what's crazy is Max Scherzer himself makes more in one season than a couple teams' entire payroll, which is completely insane. So, like, just to put that in perspective, like, he makes more than a couple whole teams. It's like, what the oh my God. Wait, that's crazy. That's crazy. Peter, what's happening, man? No, Home Alone's fantastic. All right, my favorite ones: National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, Christmas Story. I mean, Christmas Story is legendary. Okay, we'll pivot a little bit into Christmas movies here because we're approaching Christmas. I also like. My wife really likes Elf with Will Ferrell, so I like Elf. Christmas Story, I think that's my all-time right there. But there's a lot of good ones. I mean, there really, really is. Miracle on 34th Street, that's a cute movie. So it's a whole bunch. Verlander may have been out of that. He could have been Steve-O. That's a good point. But he could have still signed the contract or whatever while he was away. They could have faxed it and done. Like, these guys have access to everything. Something must have popped up, to be honest with you. I just don't know what the hell it is. The Yankees need to keep. Yeah, I think they need to stretch out Cortez. They need to stretch out Severino again. He missed 2.5 years almost. So, and this is why I have him in long relief. Like, at least Severino, like 3 innings, and you try to bump him up to 4. And like Nestor was having a hard time going through 5 in the second half of the season, so I think he gassed out. So that's something to kind of build on with him as well. So over time, but I just don't want them to guys be thrown to the wolves, Manfred's bad for the game. I mean, he's part of the problem. He's not the whole problem, Udo, but I would agree with that. I mean, it's just it boils down to greed, man, on both sides. I mean, both sides are tone deaf. Like, and at the end of the day, who's going to get priced out? People like us and fans. When and then what happens is too, these guys have so much. They make so much money at the top. It makes it difficult for certain teams to fill in the rest of their roster. And now the moderate tier guys are becoming more expensive and more expensive. Like, it's just becoming crazy. That's why they keep wanting to raise the threshold to crazy levels. Now, obviously, they want teams to spend. I get it, but like at the same time, I think there should be some kind of reasonable parameters across the board on both sides. But the union is very uncompromising, and listening to Howard Reynolds and Matt Versasian down in MLB, they made some good points that I forgot about. Like, the union has felt that they lost the last 2 CBAs, right? So it sounds as if they seem to be motivated to kind of win this one and try to get as much as they want. So that's why their demands are so aggressive. And one reason why they're so aggressive. So they're going for the gusto. So, but at some point, somebody's going to blink. I think both sides have to blink to a degree and, do this for the betterment of the game. Can't get all you want every time. So, compromise is good. I mean, compromise is good for business. It's good for baseball. So, and it's great for the fans. And, That's my give. That's my view on it. Banning the shift, I mean, yeah, I mean, shift is kind of ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, it really is. Um, it is kind of ridiculous. So, by the way, you probably have heard the Yankees added 2 coaches, Dylan Lawson and Desi Drusel, both from the minor league system. And keep in mind, too, like Lawson was instrumental in like these guys like Oswald Peraza and Oswaldo Cabrera, Hoy Park when he was here in their offensive profile. And if one thing you notice or may not notice is that the minor league systems, AA and AAA, their offensive balance is much more diverse than the major league team. These guys have a lot more complete hitters, doubles, singles, stolen bases. So they have a much more diverse offensive profile, a lot of these players. And that's something that a dynamic I think he can bring to the major league club and help some of these guys who are become less home run or strikeout. So I'm hoping that he is able to do that here. And this Drusel is going to be an assistant pitching coach. So behind working with Matt Blake. So, but these guys are forward thinkers, aggressive and not afraid to think outside the box. And I think they're going to be a good thing. And promoting from within is kind of nice, especially when these guys are well known and have good reputations in the industry and in the system too. So I'm hoping that it helps out. I would still bring in like a major league bench coach or somebody. I mean, I know there's talk about Buck Showalter potentially being an option for the Mets manager, but there's any way you can get Showalter here, I think it'd be really good. I think it would be great, man. That's what I do. But I'm happy with the 2 ads. What do you guys think? Needs to be resolved is service. Yeah, service time is the service time is big, and I mean, to manipulate service time, like sending them down and option, like I can't stand that. Like, and this is, I mean, if a guy is good enough to force himself on his roster, then you should keep him up here. Forget about the savings time. I mean, the service time. So I get it on that. I get that on both sides. They want the kids to get played, and the fact of the matter is, the players should be making the most money because they're the ones that are out there. I don't go to a Yankee game to look for Brian Cashman or look for fucking Hal Steinbrenner. I'm not going to stand there like, where's Hal? Where's Brian Cashman? No. I'm looking. I want to see Stanton. I want to see Cole. I want to see like these guys, So and whoever else they bring. So, I hope they do that. Would Dylan Lawson be talking up Correa? I mean, he could be. He has some experience in the Houston system too. I mean, he could be. He could very well be. Actually, I've sent in a resume. I'll try to get a coaching job in the Yankees organization. Shooting for the moon, Richard. Man, go do it, man. I hope they bring you on, man. You bring the Richard Rasucci dynamic there, man. You give him the pepper, you give him the flavor, man. You know what I mean? Eric Chavez was another one they were talking to. I don't know if they ever made him an offer, but he'd be a nice addition too. So he was an elite defensive infielder, and I think he'd bring a good dynamic too with Luis Rojas, and and being able to connect, even Rojas being able to connect with like the Hispanic players on the team. Latin American players, like that's a good dynamic they didn't have this past year, the last couple of years. So I think that'd be good too. Buck you're right about that. He would not be anybody's puppet. That's for damn sure. Tyler's in the house. Tyler Talbot. Now it's a party, baby. We get Olsen. I'd love to get Chapman as well. Olsen and Chapman would be a beast. I mean, my ultimate A's fantasy trade would be Olsen and Sean Murphy, but I don't think they're moving Sean Murphy right now. Olsen and Montaz would be great, or Olsen and Manaea, or Olsen and Chapman would be great. So I would do any one of those. But they still need a starting pitcher no matter what, at least one. My preference is 2, but I have a feeling they're going to bring in 1. And maybe a reliever too. Story, Judge, Olsen, Stanton, Schwarber, DJ, Gallo, Geocatcher. That's like Murderer's Row right there, Butters. Where do you have Schwarber playing? Is it you have him DHing and then like alternating with a position, every now and then? His lefty bat would be monstrous in Yankee Stadium. And be able to take him away from Boston too. Yeah, I have a feeling Correa is going to wind up going, most likely to the Tigers, but the Phillies are still my pick. Dombrowski's going to be bold. I think he's going to bring in 1 or 2 big fish. How long do you think? Unfortunately, I think the lockout's probably going to be, I'm going to say at least 6 weeks. I hope. I mean, they're still negotiating and whatnot, talking Manfred and Tony Clark, but like this stuff, I mean, these guys are dug in and they want what they want. So I'm hoping that they get it resolved sooner or later, because the longer it goes, the worse it's going to be for baseball. So get Mo Bob. If the players think they lost the last 2 agreements, it hardly makes up for the 6 previous contracts. They clean the owner's clock. Yeah, well, I mean, exactly. And like, yeah, you make a good point because like these guys were crying poverty, but look what the contracts that were just given out: 325 for Seager, 175 for Semien. Buku money being thrown around. So I don't know why these people are crying poverty. Like, and at the end of the day, it's really hard for me to feel sorry for somebody making $30 million a year. I mean, I'd be ecstatic making $1 million a year. So, ecstatic. And I don't even think, if I had 1 million subscribers, I don't even think I would do that. So, but like $30 million a year is fantasy money, man. It really is. Yeah, well, I hope Gallo is better this season. I think he'll have a better start because he won't have to adjust to the Yankees midseason. So I hope that he plays better. But I get what you're saying, man. Chavez would be a good ad. But yeah, man, Israel makes a good point. Definitely has to cut down the strikeouts. Him and a lot of other Yankees, they absolutely have to cut down. So I'm hoping that Lawson's going to help them in that regard. Make them more kind of contact-oriented without sacrificing power and just make them more well-rounded, a lot of these guys. And not be afraid to draw walks, man. You know, and stuff like that. A walk is as good as a single when you're getting on base. So, I mean, it really is. Chapman is a right-handed guy. Chapman does strike out a bit. He's an elite, super elite defender. But so is Gio. So, Olsen in the pitcher would be great because it would fill 2 needs. And but you never know. You never know. I think Cashman probably has 2 big trades in him this offseason. So, just my opinion. But I think that the Yankees need a spark plug at the top. I mean, a guy who can get on base, dude. Amen, man. Amen, Michael Miza. I mean, that's why I kept saying Brian Reynolds. And if Brian Reynolds, if they weren't going to go after him, I would have kept Greg Allen here because he's a kind of guy like that. And they're not going to do that. Maybe go for somebody like Eddie Rosario. He's another one. A contact hitter from the lefty side. He gets on base. He's a great base runner. Like he's also an elite defensive outfielder. So somebody like that. I mean, why not? So just a table setter to let you know. And then I would bet DJ second. Like one of the best contact hitters, and let him move him over or drive him in, and then you have the horses after that, right? That's when the horses come. So, you have Judge, and then Olsen if he comes here, then Stanton, then Story, then like you just line them up, and it's just gonna be deadly for pitchers. Like pitchers gonna be like, oh my god, I got to pitch against the Yankees. Can't you just put me against the Reds? Like what the. That's we got to get back to that point. The Yankees, when they were really, really good, their lineup was absolutely relentless. And again, they weren't overloaded with superstars. They had great role players, from Luis, Soho to Jose Vizcaíno to Homer Bush, to like all these guys, Chad Curtis, like all these guys were fantastic players, man. Scott Brocious, fantastic role players who just turned into they became money here, man. Absolute money. No, it's ridiculous. Well, that's the thing, Harris. I'm with you there too. Listening to a little bit too much of the analytics people to a degree, particularly when it comes to I don't know why he's listening to analytics when it comes to being reliant on power at the expense of contact hitting. That doesn't really make much sense to me. Contact, get on base, man. Get on base regularly and let the other guys drive you in. Speed at the top, contact, and power, and then you're increasing your ability to kind of manufacture runs in a bunch of different ways. So that to me is a good balanced lineup. Even the guys batting 7th, 8th, and 9th, contributors. You know what? Contributors. No automatic outs on this team. There should never be automatic outs on the Yankees. So that's something that they need to fix. There were way too many of them this year. Way too many automatic outs. Yankees, Giants, and Knicks are killing me. Cameron. I mean. The Knicks are like a 500 team. They got to acquire a superstar at some point. They got to acquire a superstar. Giants, yeah. I mean, Giants are frustrating. My Jets too. I'm a Jets, Yankees, and the Jets are terrible. But at least if the draft were tomorrow, they would pick 4 and 5. So that would be nice. But they need a couple of high draft picks in several years in order to kind of come back. That's what the Browns had. They were terrible, and they had number 1, number 2 draft pick 5 years in a row, and then all of a sudden they're going to the postseason now with Baker and Myles Garrett, like these guys. So the Jets need a couple years like that. So last year was a good start, but they need a couple more good drafts in offseason. So, and they got to stop guys, like Carl Lawson. Yeah, he got hurt the first game of the season. Like, what the hell, man? Like, he's missed the whole year. It's Achilles. So we need guys to stay healthy and stop getting hurt too. So the quarterback can stay healthy, but we need an offensive line to protect this kid, Zach Wilson. So, but the Giants, yeah. I mean, I like Jones. I mean, Saquon's having a frustrating year too. He's just not there yet. So, Tyler, yeah, trade some of the strikeouts, 100%. We have too much of it. Fritz, what's happening, man? Well, I see Ward Lifer kind of summed it up nicely about, I think they have some of the wrong guys in the analytics department that's just not summing up what they need to get better and to kind of keep up with the Rays and the Blue Jays. Watch out for the Blue Jays. They're going to come out of the gates too when this lockout ends. So I expect them to be big spending. I still have Chris Bryant predicted to them. And I would not be surprised if that happens. I really wouldn't. Well, I would agree with you there too, Billy. I mean, Boone is kind of the, the deliverer of the analytics people thing. And it's just kind of a pecking order. And Boone is just the guy that listens to Cashman, who listens to Hal. It's just like, do this, relay, do this. And, that there's some improvements that need to happen in that regard and player development and stuff like that, Billy. So I'm with you 100%. Luden, serious question. I feel nobody is considered over when it comes to Correa. Best years and numbers were huge in part to his cheating. I think he's overrated. Yeah, Luden. I mean, honestly, man, that's why to me Trevor Story's the better value here. If you look at their stats, I actually did a video and I compared all the shortstops. Story had the most balanced offensive profile. Okay, obviously Semien had a little bit more power than everybody, but Story was more versatile than all of them. And again, he's going to cost half the price of a Correa, half the price of a Seager. So, and he's not going to clog up the roster for a decade. He's also versatile, so he won't block Volpe, who it looks like he's going to be really special. And if some of these other guys come, Oswaldo Cabrera could be the new Tyler Wade, could be the new multi-position guy. If they trade any of these guys, it's probably going to be Oswald Peraza if they get Olsen. I think he's going to have to be in an Olsen trade, unfortunately. So, but that becomes a little bit more palatable if they sign somebody like Story, because then they can continue to develop these other guys, and they're favored to sign or expected to sign Roderick Arias, another shortstop who's the number one international free agent, they're already calling him like Ron DeFranco Part 2 with a lot of power. So that's an encouraging thing too. So he would replace Oswald Peraza. So they have a really ridiculous pipeline. Trey Sweeney, Oswaldo, they have a ridiculous pipeline of up to middle players. So I would be okay with moving Peraza if they brought in Trevor Story. If they didn't, then I would give him a shot. I would play Peraza over any of these stopgap guys. So, like Jose Iglesias or Andrelton Simmons, I would play Peraza because he's clearly ready on with the glove, and I think his profile offensively would suit up nicely at the major league level. So, but good points, Luden. Gary Sheffield, he had the most violent. It's like he wanted to kill the ball, right? The whole, and he's like, I'm gonna tear the cover off this fucking ball. Like it was fantastic. I love watching him hit. He was a tough dude. And actually, go to I think it's YouTube. Go put in Gary Sheffield, still hitting home runs in his 50s. They had him at a baseball field, and he was hitting bombs. Just somebody was throwing a batting practice, and he had a cigar in his mouth, and he was just launching stuff. I think he had a hoodie on. He was launching baseballs out there in his 50s a couple months ago. So check it out. It's really cool. Voit and Sanchez. I don't disagree with you, Tyler, at all. I mean, there's still time to move Sanchez and Voit. I think Voigt's probably going to have to be part of an Olsen trade, and I'm fine with that if you're getting Olsen back. Sanchez, I think if they do a trade, like I said, with the Diamondbacks and they bring in a Carson Kelly with other players, then you have the guy who can replace Gary Sanchez, and then they can move Gary Sanchez in a trade to, let's say, the Marlins, who have already done a pretty good job. But if DH becomes available, then you could plug them over there in an attempt to get one of their starting pitchers back. So you add somebody to Sanchez and maybe try to get a Pablo Lopez here. And if you get Pablo Lopez and another starter, then Yankees rotation's in much better shape. Can't put everything on Cole's shoulders. So, and everything was on his shoulders the last 2 years. And We have to give him some more support behind him. Hal voted against the tax increase, so I'm looking to a lot of spending. He always does. He always does. I mean, if they do the threshold increase, then he won't have to pay luxury tax. So, that's I think. I mean, I don't blame him for not wanting to pay luxury tax. The Yankees pay revenue sharing too. They pay more revenue sharing than any other team. So he's paying not only the tax over, but revenue sharing on top of that. Like, there's a ton of money that he's just doling out to teams that are no guarantee to be using it. So I get that. I mean, if I were him, I would be in support of increasing the threshold, so that he wouldn't have to pay luxury tax. So, or as much at the very least. Because right now, at 240, you're 30 million over, and over that first level of threshold, it's 20% when it's reset. It's 20% for every, what do you call it? It's 20% tax, anything over 210 million. So if they're at 240, right, that's 30 million over 20%. They're paying $6 million luxury tax just on top of that. So it goes from 240 to 246. And then it keeps going up and going up and going up. Like the Mets are going to be through the roof. So what they're already in like the upper 260s. So, and I don't think they're done. So Steve Cohen's, he means business. He really does. As a former Yankee, Clark he is a former Yankee. Tony Clark, decisions against Yankee seniors. Hayward, Horford, we're both played for Pacers. Ref Nick James Jr. No, another good point, Udo. Another good point. You guys are making some great points here. This stuff really enhances the conversation because we have so many great perspectives here. Yankees are a DH fans. Yeah. Sanchez, Andrew, all those guys can be moved to the NL to be a DH for a team. They all have elite potential with the bat, so they would serve value. If any of them, I think, gets moved for, again, Olsen, I think it's Voit because they're going to need a first baseman there. So, and Voit can at the very least pick Beal. He's got 3 more years of control, and he's cheaper than Olsen in terms of salary-wise. So they're still cutting salary A's by doing that. So I could see that happening. Random question. Call this one. Yankee shop. It's Yankees.com. The Yankees home store. And it's nice. It's soft, man. It's really soft. So, and I'm also going to be working on 161 River Ave merch. So 161 Mafia merch. So be on the lookout. It's already kind of in the preliminary stages. So I just need to I want to make sure I have good products and they're not cheap and affordable for everybody because I'm not going to be charging $40 for a t-shirt. So I want it to be affordable and for the masses. So, and the story is definitely the most athletic. Samuel, man, tell him Cashman switch me. I appreciate that, man. That way I become the GM and Cashman be on. I appreciate that, Samuel. I mean, he could be. I don't know, man. I don't know if you guys would. If he took over this channel, you guys might be like, you know what? I'm bouncing. Then I'm going to have to start a new channel from Yankee Stadium. It'd be like the movie Draft Day when you're in the war room with me. That's what it would be because I would want you guys there. You know what I mean? So I can get your insights on the moves, like the winter meetings, off season. Like, guys, what are we doing here? You be part of that with me. I need that if I'm going to be the GM. I need my people there with me. Michael K. Do I agree with the Rangers infield contracts will end up burning? I do, Gio. At the end of the day, Semien not as much as Seager, but 10-year deal is a lot of money, $325. But they have an uber rich owner too, and they're just moved into a new stadium, and like a year ago, they're going to want to spend money to kind of bring people back in. They're one of the stadiums that really stayed full when stadiums reopened, so they make money. Olsen straight up for Olsen. Oh, I don't know, Butters. That's a kind of man. Might be an underpay or an overpay for somebody. Butters has the good comments, man. And the Hart could be a great hit. Yeah, he could. I mean, if he gets regular playing time and he's healthy, like, I think he could be fine. And he can an occasion play a position because he has a little. He's rough with the glove, yeah, but he has played infield. He has played outfield. And I think he'd be best suited at DH, but an occasional spot infield or spot outfield on a day to give one of those guys a break too. So, and he's not always like 26, so he's still young and he's got a lot of baseball in him. So he really does. I just don't know. He's not fit with the Yankees anymore, unfortunately. So the ridiculous high pressure in the AL East and just pronounced by 1,000 in the Bronx, right? It's just a pressure cooker in the Bronx. So there's no doubt about it. Major pressure cooker. Appreciate it, Jared, man. I appreciate it, bro. Thank you, Nicholas. I appreciate it, man. It's Yankees merch, straight up Yankee stuff, man. Right from the Yankees website. Jays and Rays are getting strong. Yes, they are. Sox too. Yep. Yeah, Fritz. I mean, I'm of the opinion, and we're kind of starting to hear things that they expect the Yankees to be aggressive once this lockout's over. And I do think once they have an idea of what the new parameters in terms of payroll are going to be, then he can be more aggressive. I think he'll be more aggressive in trades than he will in free agency. But I can see him bringing in Trevor Story and then making a couple of bold trades, like a trade with the A's and maybe a trade with the Diamondbacks. It would revamp the whole kind of lineup and rotation. Like it would do a lot of things just with those three moves. I'd still bring in a reliever like Andrew Chafin as well, another lefty reliable reliever, and try to move Chapman if they could. So, but Chapman and Britton alone, man, it's $30+ million coming off the books after next year. So, and which will give them a lot of savings that they could reallocate elsewhere. So they're both up at the end of 2022, even though Britton's going to miss the whole entire year now. Would Oakland accept Glaber and Guilford? If I were them, I would. I have a feeling they're going to want more, but that to me seems to be a fair thing. And I generally don't go. I'm not too reliant on the MLB trade values calculator because there's some of them are so lopsided. This represents a good need. I mean, it gives the A's what they want and need and gives the Yankees what they want and need. So to me, that type of stuff makes sense. They had a trade thrown out. Shane Bieber, Jose Ramirez for Herman Gil, Isaac Monty Volpe. So the Yankees would give up 1, 2, 3 starting pitchers for 1 starter in return. Alan, there isn't a chance. If I were the Yankees, I would never make that trade. I mean, if I the Indians probably would, because that's a shitload of capital coming back to them. Controllable years, a reliable left-handed starting pitcher, and Hill, a potential big arm in the rotation, like a stutter. There's no way the Yankees. If I were the GM, I would never do that ever in a million years. And Bieber's a good strikeout pitcher, but and Jose Ramirez is a superstar, but he's a superstar with 2 years of control left. So he doesn't have 5 years of control. That would be a different story. 2 years, and then he'll be 30, and then you're gonna have to pay him boatload of money. This is way too much. I don't move Volpe for anybody. Okay. And if I ever considered moving of somebody, it would be like Juan Soto, but I don't see Soto being moved. So, but Volpe, I think you got to keep. You got to keep. He's going to be special, man. I really think that. And, I agree with Simonetti on this one, Pete Simonetti, where Volpe's. He looks like he's going to be a special player. So, and I just hope he's a special player here. And I don't think Cashman would move him. He'd be rioting in the streets of Yankee Stadium, man. No idea why the Yankees don't use Judge in center, Gallo in right, and Stanton in left. Frees up DH for Sand. Man, they could. I mean, Richard. They could, but that's. I personally, I think with this scenario, I would swap Gallo, put Gallo in center, and Judge in right. Gal's got the best arm of them, of all three. So I would put him in center. Judge has a pretty good cannon also from right, and Stanton's got a decent arm from left. But that's kind of how I would do it. But Judge has played center, and he's played it credibly. So I'll give him that. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Michael, man. Sanchez is he's kind of worn out his welcome with a lot of fans. By the way, if you guys haven't hit the like button, please hit that like button. I want to try and get it over 100 again, man. I appreciate you. I'm kind of trying to keep rocking and rolling here, man. And I also want to thank you guys also for helping me. We just passed 6,000 subscribers a couple days ago. I'm really, really grateful for all of you. So it's a cheers for you. Anybody who's celebrating Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah. And, obviously happy holidays for everybody too. We'll do a Christmas toast as we get closer too. But I appreciate you all. Thank you. And I'm going for the gusto. I'm going to try to get to 10,000 by June, my birthday. So we'll see if we can do it. So I'm going to keep rocking and rolling with some good stuff. We'll have some good live chats, a lot of good content. I have some stuff I'm putting out this week I think you'll enjoy. So there's no lockout on this channel, baby. I'm not sure if you talked about this, but what do you think about the new hitting? We talked about that early, Robert, but I think it's good, Robert Rivera. I mean, Dylan Lawson, I think he brings a dynamic that the Yankees haven't had in a while. They're both in-house guys. And Desi Drusel is an assistant. He's going to be the assistant pitching coach. But if you look at the guys that he worked with, I mean, they had a lot of good offensive balance. Oswaldo Cabrera, Oswald Peraza, Hoyt Park, like good contact hitters with power, aggressive on the base pass, and like a whole bunch of stuff. So he can bring that dynamic here, Robert, to the Yankees. And maybe they'll be a little bit less reliant on the home run and stop striking out so freaking much. So maybe we'll have more contact hitting. And I think that type of stuff will work better with DJ because that's kind of right up his alley. Maybe, guys like Gallo too, if he's here. Gallo, I mean, be surprised. He's fast, and he's the only guy on the team really that bunted. And he actually got on a couple times. From the lefty side, it's an easy to do a drag bunt for him. So I was impressed with that. But so I think they're two good coaches. I'm encouraged with the moves. They still have 2 more to go though, Robert. So 2 more coaches to come. What do you think? Would I do Olsen, Minea for Peraza, Torres, and Boyd? Olsen, Minea for Peraza. Yes, I would. Yep. Because then you can move. I mean, obviously they probably, let's just say under the assumption that they signed Trevor Story. Then you have DJ at second, which I think is a better second baseman than Torres is, and he might just be better defense across the infield. You have Story a short, DJ second, Gio at third, and Olsen at first. That is a world-class defensive infield right there. World freaking class. So I would sign up for that. Yes, sir. Peraza, Voit, Andujar, Gil, Torres to Oakland. That's too much for Olsen, Nicholas. Too much. They got to add Frankie Montaz to that. Because if you're going to give up Gil, Luis Hill, also 5 dudes. Yeah, 5 for 1 is too much. I mean, you got to try to get Frankie Montaz with that. If we're going to give up a young, dynamic starting pitcher, we got to get a pitcher back to some degree. If the NBA had really high contracts, a lot of them. Yeah, it would be ridiculous. LeBron James would make like $80 million a year. I like the NBA style where they give 4 years or a supermax for 5 years and then ridiculous money, but that's it after 5 years. There's none of these decade-long contracts. I like that in the majors. The majors would never go for it, but I think it's I like that style. Doesn't hamstring teams that long, so. And they also have something called, what's it called? The amnesty, I forgot the name. It might be the amnesty clause, but let's just say a player's hurt and he has like 4 years or something like that in his contract. You could spread it, or he has 1 year for a bunch of like $40 million. You could spread it out over 4 years and make it $10 million per year instead of $40 million for 1 year. So there's a way to do it where you can lower the average annual value and take less of a hit on the payroll. So I like that thing that basketball has with regards to that. And I've mentioned the team opt-out that I think would be a great idea, but the union would never go for it. Ever in a million years would go for the team opt-out. Got 162 people on. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a nice low-key Saturday night. I had 300 plus last Saturday. It was completely insane. It was awesome. But I appreciate you guys, being with me on a Saturday night here. And we won't go too long tonight, but we'll keep it enjoyable and whatnot. But we got some good stuff here. I mean, and watch out for this other kid, Seiya Suzuki, too. This outfield prospect, this player from Japan. I have a video coming out on him this week, so look out for him. He could be an underrated get for the Yankees for like outfield or center field, and because at some point I think Hicks will get hurt, unfortunately. So he looked pretty solid in winter ball, but that's a small snippet. So I think he needs to show that he can be healthy, but he's had too many injury issues recently. So I like that This Suzuki here looks pretty good. Pretty good. Tyler Talbot, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much. Olsen and Manea for Torres, Medina, Davy Peraza, Luis Mendoza. We keep Hill, Manea, Torres, Medina, Davy Garcia, Oswald Peraza. Yes. And then they would really have to sign Trevor Story for shortstop. I mean, it's going to hurt giving up Oswald Peraza because he's a really good-looking player. I hope they don't have to move him, but if you can get Manea and Olsen, you kind of have to. It's going to cost that much. It's going to have to hurt a little bit temporarily. So, but yeah, I appreciate you again. Don't know hype and don't know love for Tyler, man. Daily Dose is in the house. What's happening, buddy? I could. Yeah, sorry, Anthony. I couldn't last Sunday night. I couldn't do it, unfortunately. So Saturday night was live, but I couldn't do it Sunday. Something popped up. I don't remember what it was. And but my apologies, Anthony. I won't drop the ball like that again. So yeah, last Sunday was kind of crazy. Can we get Trevino in an Olsen trade? Brachio, that's Brachio. 97. I don't know. It's a good question. That's a good question, 97. Maybe. No, the A's are going to want to be motivated to hold on to the guys with more controllable years. So this is what they do. And then when they have like 1 or 2 controllable years, then they trade them because they don't pay any of these guys in free agency. So they milk those early years, and then they move on and let somebody overpay for them. So it should be something the Yankees should be taking notes on. So Everson Pereira, he's good. He is good. Nice look outfield, good-looking outfield prospect. 161 Rivers wife. They're in bed. We're here. We're here. So we'll see you in 15, wife. See you in 15. Crazy. 161. We got to dump Hicks and Guy. I think if Hicks establishes that he's healthy, then he'll have a market. Gallo, I think, if Gallo comes out the bat, come out of the gates and he plays really well, I think he'll have a market, particularly at the trade deadline. The Yankees could get value for him back if he's playing really, really well. If they need somebody. So otherwise they can let him walk next offseason if he had a good year and then just get a draft pick back for him. But if he's playing hot, you can get more at the deadline, obviously. So there's 2 options for the Yankees, unless they plan on bringing him back. But a lot of these young outfield prospects, I don't see that happening. Met fans, they offer Kikuchi a 3-year. I could see that. Curtis Granderson now is an option for managing the Mets now too. They've talked about him recently, so keep an eye out on Granderson too. He's a pro. Class dude is absolute pro. Suzuki's a good-looking player, Tyler. He's a good-looking player, so he's got a right-handed power too. He's a good contact guy. He had an adjustment period in Japan, but he's a good-looking player. He really is. Dominguez looking like Jamarcus. I hope not, Michael Jackson. I hear what you're saying, though. He struggled at low ball. He turned around a little bit, but he struggled more than he should have, I think. But maybe that's just the adjustment period. Plus, missing the year didn't help a lot of these guys, so because of COVID. So I'm factoring that into. I'm hoping that he'll be better with more playing time this season. So to really be more representative of his talent level. And Suzuki would be fun. Keigawa was a disaster, but Hiroki Kuroda was great. Tanaka was great. Hideki Matsui was wonderful here. So they've hit gold with quite a few of these Japanese players. So I'm really happy with that. Monkey's uncle, you crazy, man. Dinner's way earlier. Yes, indeed. Yeah, it's too late for dinner now. Too late. I gotta stay fit and ripped, so can't be eating too late. Mets made some major. Mets have been super aggressive this offseason. They still have holes to fill though, but And I see them filling them. I think they're going to be aggressive all offseason. I don't throw anything, but sometimes I yell. Yeah, sometimes I yell. That's for sure. Nor the great. Yeah, I can't throw stuff. I'll be in trouble if I throw stuff. Thoughts on Isaiah? I mean, he actually has a higher WAR than I thought. He's a pretty high WAR player, good defensive player. So, but at the end of the day, Trevor Story's my guy for shortstop. So, and I don't think it'll cost a ton to get kind of Falefa, but I if I'm going to make a trade, I'm saving pieces for Olsen and whoever else I can get with Olsen. So, and just go after Story and try to bring his butt here. That's what I would do. Paxton will be the next Nathan Eovaldi for the Red. He could. I would hate to see him become a Yankee killer. I really, really would. So that was, I think, under the radar smart move for Boston. Granderson was a class act. He was a solid player, and he had that type of, that kind of aura around him, right? He'd be a good coach or manager. And I always liked Granderson. He was a good dude. I was happy when the Yankees got him. Dominguez he is an athletic freak, but and that doesn't always translate either, Richard. So I know what you're saying. The only guy I'd trade him for is Brian Reynolds. Brian Reynolds is a finished product of Dominguez, but I know a lot of people would be pretty pissed if they moved the Martian, but they have other guys, other prospects, enough to offset or to survive moving on from him. Tanaka's going to run. He's going back to Japan. He declined his opt-out, and I'm not surprised because of this lockout. We don't know how long it's going to last. So he went back to Japan where he's beloved, and he has a great career there. So, good for him. I wish him well. Angel, nothing yet, man. There's been talk about Showalter maybe interviewing for the Mets managing job, as well as Curtis Granderson. So I don't know if he'd be a bench coach here. I mean, if it was offered, I would take it, but I don't know if he'll do that. So you're funny, Rivers wife. You are funny. Granderson's one of my all-time Yankees. Yeah, he's a gamer. He had a beautiful swing. He had those nice home runs over there. He's a good, solid player. Suzuki's another one. Yeah, I mean, AK the Flow. Hello, Japan. All right. Good contact hitter. He's got power. He's cut down on the strikeouts quite a bit, actually. Hits from the right-hand side. He's a good defensive player in the outfield. So, he wouldn't cost $100 million either. So, he'd be a good one here. He really would. And to be surrounded by so many good hitters that he won't have the pressure of being the guy. So, which I think will help ease his transition to the majors. So, just like when Matsui came here, he didn't have to be the guy. But, he did really well. He had a grand slam in his first game in Yankee Stadium. So, I remember that. Granny's an experienced fan. Yeah. Both teachers. He comes from an education background. That's good. Yeah, Volpe, I mean, he needed some time developing, but Volpe just shot up now. He progressed at such a meteoric rise that I think he's gonna force the Yankees at some point to we got to bring this guy up. We can't keep him down because he's just murdering everybody in AAA. That's the type of guy you need to actually force them to bring them up. No, that's the type of guy. That's what Soto did and Vlad Jr. You couldn't keep those guys down. There's no way. You got to bring them up. And I'm hoping that Volpe's the same thing. Dominguez, Medina, Schmidt for Reynolds. That's one to consider right there, Richard. That's one thing to consider right there. Yeah, Pax is injury prone. Butters, I'm with you there. When he's good, he's good though. He's pretty unhittable when he's sharp. So he's got nasty stuff. He just can't keep it together healthy wise. So Cashman gets called up prospects. However, when prospects don't turn out. Yeah, prospects if they're traded fans rates. Yeah, it's just a lot of fans want it both ways, Daly. I get it, man. And again, like just the depth in the system is enough to withstand losing a Dominguez. And hype is hype. I get that. But at the end of the day, how many prospects have we had on the offensive side who've really come up, aside from the exception of Judge, who was already older, but like, how many do you remember that make the major leagues and kept going? Jeter, Bernie, Posada, like these can pet it, but that was a Hall of Fame kind of legendary class. But aside from that, there's generally a pretty significant regression when these prospects make the major leagues. So, and that's something to keep in mind. So, and that's why, you get a guy like Brian Reynolds, you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry. He's there. He's going to be your center fielder. He'll be your leadoff hitter for years and years and years to come. At least you know what you're getting with him. But unfortunately, you can't get a guy like that without giving up a guy like Dominguez. So, but, Volpe to me is the only untouchable. Absolutely untouchable. I don't move Volpe. Lorenzo, me? 45. 45. Anybody remember Granderson going fight? Yeah, I remember that. He was also part of that 3 Grand Slam game. He hit one of the Grand Slams. Him, Cano, and Russell Martin all hit Grand Slams in one game. It's a record. I'm 45. Yep. Yeah, I agree with you, Seymour. Agree, 100%. Capitalize their front. Yeah, exactly, 100%. The farm has been better up top. Daly does. They're very thin in starting pitching. They're very thin at catcher in the farm. That's why I keep saying they should be drafting more catchers. They have really good position players up the middle, but aside from that, they need more. So it's encouraging what we've seen, bringing guys like Volpe and Judge turning out, and Trey Sweeney and some of these other guys, but they still need to do more. Ron, me, I stay hydrated, man, all day. I had a very long day, so I gotta stay hydrated, man. 2011, you have 3 Grand Slams. I think it was against the Oakland A's, if I'm not mistaken. 63 in judo. Hey, man. 63 and going strong, baby. 49 in April. All right, man. 46 in June. 46 in June. Peraza is definitely elite glove. And I wouldn't have any problem starting with shortstop. I really wouldn't. If that's where they go, it's got to be Story or Peraza. But I just feel that Peraza is going to be moved for Olsen if we get Olsen, which to me makes Story the obvious pick. Do I trade Stanton at the opportunity to present itself? It depends. It depends for what. I mean, his contract's kind of like a bargain now for the Yankees. So with his production, and he's absolute money in the playoffs, it depends on what you can get back for him, Chris Gardella. I mean, it really depends on what you can get back for the guy. This is 6 years left on his contract. But with that production, if he stays healthy, you can get a decent amount. But I don't move him just for the sake of clearing payroll. Like, his production is way higher than most of the other guys. So that's why I see it. Franchise turned 28. All right, man. Yankees getting 28 for 28, baby. That's right. That'd be a good birthday present, man. Cole, Judge, and Stanton ain't going to cut it. No, we need more than that, Nicholas. You're absolutely right, man. We need more than that, man. And again, we're surrounding guy. We have to take advantage of their prime years, so we need to surround these guys with better players, good role players, athleticism, versus everything, man. Everything. We really do. We're soup paper thin on catching depth. It's a shame. Yankees are really good at developing position players, and relief pitchers, but starting pitching, they're weak, and catching, they're weak. Tyler, thank you again, bro. You're a legend, dude. Dominguez, Austin Wells, Clark Schmidt, Combs for Brian Reynolds. It might cost that much, but I'd probably do that as long as Volpe's name's not in there. So I'd probably do that. And I would try to get another piece. I'd try to get like a JT Brubaker with him or something like that. A pitcher back with Brian Reynolds as well. Something like that, if you could. You're going to give up that much. You might as well try to get 2 players back instead of 1. Really. Stanton. I mean, Stanton shuts up a lot of critics, man. A lot of critics. Trading. Where would you trade him to, Jarrett? Who would you want back? Yankees. If they lose Judge to free agency run, then I think the fans are going to riot. If they trade him and get a haul back, and then there's not really much of an interruption in performance, I think they'll be fine. That's my opinion. I think they need to make a huge extension offer now. And if he says no and wants to wait it out, then you trade him. So that way you've covered all bases. We tried to keep him here, and he wanted more. We have too many holes to fill, so we have to move him. That's the way I look at it. Yeah, he got a lot. Stanton got a lot of hell from fans. A lot of hell. And it's a shame. But so did Cole. So did like Tino Martinez when he came here. And these other guys when they came here. They get it, man. When they're imports or traded here or signed here as free agents, they always get it because they're not homegrown guys. So, Cole, yeah, yeah, Chris, 100%, man, 100%. David Cohn for pitching coach. I love David Cohn, man. If he was ever interested, I think they would probably want to talk to him at the very least. He's a smart pitcher. Trevor, Kansas City's Adalberto Mondesi, 1-year rental. Armin Peraza. Him and Peraza should be by Volpe a year or 2 to ripen. Could. Evolado. Could, very well. Yeah, Volpe is, to me, he stays. I have no interest in trading Volpe. Cole needs a partner, and yeah, man, 100%. He needs a co-ace. Jesse, 100%. And I want to add 2 pitchers, but I'll take a co-ace to Cole any day. I really would. Oakland, Pittsburgh are watching you. The only player they want is Volpe until now. Yeah, they're gonna have to come off of the Volpe thing. Like, there's enough to get trades done without Volpe. It really is. Olsen's no more priority. I'm with that. Top 10 prospects. That's going to be Volpe. And I had them written down somewhere. Volpe, Sweeney, Dominguez, Oswaldo Cabrera, Oswald Peraza, Everson Pereira, Luis Medina. The other 2 will come to me. Daily. Give me a second. Those are definitely 8 or 9 out of 10, though, right there. Mattingly, baby. Yeah, Mattingly's one of my all-time favorite Yankees. Donnie Baseball. Hope they don't. They'd be so stupid to let Judge walk. That's why they have to do this right now. Offer them extension now. Because at the very least, if he turns it down, you're in a position where you can move him, and teams would line up for him. So I pay a lot of money for an Aaron Judge. Can't do that at any point in time in the rest of the season. You're going to wait until the trading deadline where you won't get as much. And then if at the end of the season, you have no leverage. Either extend them or you let them walk in free agency and you get a draft pick. And that draft pick is not, worth. You're going to give him a qualifying offer. He's going to turn it down. That draft pick is not worth, his value comparative to Judge. So. Make you mod, M-O-D, or moderator. I don't know. I have to talk to my actual wife about that one. Me? Nora? Me? You're asking me, Nora? Full year Stanton is playing the outfield. Put up. Yeah. Stanton as he gets regular playing time in the outfield with the things that he's been doing recently to make changes to his body, he'll be able to stay healthier and be really productive. And that bat is really going to be hard to replace. Really, really hard to replace. Yes, exactly. He's a feisty young Jeter. He really is. He really, really is. Yes, thank you, Lori. Creepy. Yes, thank you. Chris Bassett from the A's. Jesse. I think Frankie Montez is the first pick, but Bassett would be okay. You got Showman there too. One of those guys. Montez is the get if possible, but I don't know if he's gettable with Olsen. Jeter's wife had another. They have 3 now, Lori? And they have three little girls? Good for them. Good for them. Got a beautiful family there, Jeter. He really does. Everson Pereira is kind of knocking on the door to Jason Dominguez. So that's what I mean. If you move Dominguez, you at the very least have Everson Pereira coming not too far behind. So Castro from the Reds or Wilson Contreras from the Cubs. Now they brought in Yan Gomes. He, to me, is a little expendable. So I could see him being moved. I really could. Hillel's in the house. Volpe, Dominguez, Peraza, Hill. Yeah, Hill. I kept him off the prospect list because he made the majors. So but I would have him on there, obviously, if he was. And Austin Wells would be there. Trey Sweeney, yeah. Ken Waldichuk, left-handed pitcher, yep. Gomez, Yoendris Gomez, yep. It's hard to do a 10. I'd like to have like a 15 or something like that. So this is pretty solid at the top. There's a pretty precipitous drop-off, though, after like 10 or 15. That's where we need to get that more up high-end depth on the bottom half of that 30, top 30. Stanton, yeah. The bats didn't show up at the wildcard game. They didn't. So I know, obviously, Cole was injured and didn't come through either, but like the bats, neither did the bats. So that's something you got to keep in mind. Good for them, Lori. Nice family, just. Yeah, let's. There we go. We're moving on from Rivers' wife. Gone, Lori. Gone. Yeah, I don't want to have that. It's going to start bothering people, so we got to move on from that. So, and it isn't true. No. And it isn't true. What do you give up to get Wilson Contreras? You could. At this point, you maybe like a 2 top 20s, second half of the or 15 to 20 or something like that. Maybe an infield prospect and a pitching prospect of some sort. And that'll get you Wilson Contreras. I don't think it'll cost more than that, to be honest. So I just don't. Medina looks good. He's like, him and Hill together would be a nice little formidable duo. So yeah, I categorize. Yeah, I just don't categorize him that daily. That's just me, Trade Hal for Bill Gates. Yeah. Heck yeah. I just saw a trade judge comment. Where did that go? Somebody had a trade judge comment. Where the heck did it go? Here we go. Judge holding the Yankees hostage just highlights what a terrible job Cashman has done. They should have extended. They should have extended Judge 5 years ago. You don't wait till somebody's 31 to extend them. Then all those years you're going to be paying for are going to be decline years. Or the majority of them are going to be decline years. So, and that's one of the biggest problems. It's crazy. Crazy. Alex Rodriguez, yeah. Waldichuk, he's got a good arm. From the lefty side, too, he's got a good arm there, Richard. So I like him. He's a good-looking prospect. Davy Garcia just kind of regressed significantly. They've making a lot of adjustments to his mechanics. So I'm hoping that Blake is able to do some things with Davy this year. So if he gets an opportunity, so we'll see. Randy Vasquez, another one, yeah. Yeah. Hill, Dominguez, Medina, and Wells. I think it would take at least to get Reynolds or Mullins. Hill, Dominguez, Medina. Yeah, I would probably agree with that, Emmanuel. It's going to be steep. It's going to be steep. Absolutely steep. But if you do it to Pirates. You don't do it to Orioles. I'm not going to give an American League East team all that capital. Yeah. Yeah, that would be nuts. Daily Dose. Elon Musk. Ron Marinaccio. He's got a live arm, so he's another one. I'm glad they protected him from the Rule 5. And I could see him getting an opportunity soon at some point. Seiya Suzuki, yeah. Trey, Judge, and Voigt for Olsen. A straight Judge for prospects. I don't know if we'd be able to. I think Gerald, I think you can get Olsen without having to move Judge. And if you trade Judge, you trade him to a West Coast team with a really good farm so that they can give you a boatload of guys back. San Diego, Seattle, guys, teams like that, Dodgers. We can get a ton of prospect capital in return. And that's kind of my thought process, but I know what you mean. Yeah, Marion Nachos and your Jersey boys from the East Coast. Yeah, Davy's young. He's only like 23. I mean, hopefully he gets an opportunity to kind of come back and pitch well. Reynolds and Olsen. Jeffrey, that's my kind of fantasy offseason. If they can somehow swing a trade for Reynolds and swing a trade for Olsen, that would gut a lot of the farm. But like those two guys, it would be worth it for several years. You have two very, very important building blocks, extremely important building blocks. And I do think DJ will have a better year. Now his surgery's behind them and he's kind of more mobile and feeling better. I think so. We need it. We definitely need it. Rule 5 draft has been postponed, at least the major league part of it, because of the lockout. It's been postponed now. It's supposed to have been, I should say part of it's been postponed. Some of it's going to happen the 8th, but the major league, again, part of it's going to be postponed. Everything's just kind of shut down right now for the most part. The only thing teams can do is hire coaches and managers. So that's, and the Yankees they still have 2 more coaching positions to fill. So I expect them to do that. Olsen and Story I'd be fine with too. I mean, those would be 2 great additions to this team, and especially the lineup. Oh my gosh. I am down with the Yankees roster all-time team. Yeah. They're kind of hard to do, I think, but in baseball, well, they could probably do it. Well, I'd be curious to see what kind of team that would, how good they would be. They'd have a hell of good food in the dugouts now, in the locker room. And now we got another one here, another imposter here. 161 Rivers Uncle. No, we're moving on from that. We're getting rid of that one too. I'm not going to tolerate that stuff here, guys. Goodbye. And Auntie 2. Auntie's goodbye. Trevor Story, one of his best year. I think he would be really good here. He'd be surrounded by a monster lineup. Yeah, a lot of trolls, but I'm chucking a monkey's uncle. I'm chucking these fools. Judge for Padres 2, 3, and 4 prospects. That'd be a pretty legit trade. 1 year. Yeah, that'd be pretty legit. Pretty legit, man. I mean, that's what's going to take to get a Judge. So I get it. No, I know what you mean, Gerald. I just don't think the Yankees would do that because they would want to move Judge in a separate trade to get more prospects. Either after Olsen or before, they can flip some of those prospects to Olsen themselves. So there's no need to give Judge to Oakland when they can kind of do the same things themselves and get Olsen without Judge. So, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, I know, Daly. This is what happens when you start to grow a little bit more quickly. Then you start to get the trolls. You get you get the jokesters. But that's all right. We'll get rid of them. We'll get rid of them. Dodgers win the trade. Turner trade. Yeah, that was a nice little throw into Max Scherzer, man. They lost Scherzer and Seager. Crazy. Man, they'll make a move too. They'll make a move too. Dodgers, no doubt about it. Judge to the Dodgers would give us a nice return. I actually had a trade proposal with Judge, and I think my return was Brewster Gratterall, Dustin May, and Gavin Lux. I think that was my return for Judge, which would be a pretty insane return. Pretty insane return. John D. Lee, I thank you so much, man. I appreciate the super chat, bro. Brian Reynolds or Olsen most likely. I think Olsen's more likely than Brian Reynolds because he's closer to free agency and to me, the Pirates are asking for the moon. Well, so are the A's asking for the moon, but there's no real need for the Pirates to move Reynolds right now. They can use him as a building block with him and Brian Hayes and continue to build around him. And he's on a cheap contract. The A's are just small market spenders, and they do this all the time. It's like rinse and repeat. So, I think Olsen's most likely to move, and I think he's most likely to move to the Yankees, John Lee. So, but I appreciate the donut, man. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate you, brother. Both of them will be awesome here. I mean, it really would. I just don't see it happening. But again, I could be wrong. I mean, Cashman has worked kind of crazy magic before, so he could do it again. He could definitely do it again. If he does, I mean, I'd be all for it, man. All for it. Remember Rob Refsnyder and Mateo? Yeah, guys like that. And what the hell's his name? Jesus Montero, and we traded him for Michael Pineda. He turned out to do nothing. So this happens. Not many prospects pan out for the Yankees, unfortunately. Top guys. I mean, James Caprillion turned out to be decent with the A's. With the A's now, is pitching decent, but they just develop pitchers better in Oakland than they do in New York right now. So Yankees, that's where Matt Blake and getting a good assistant behind him would come in handy. So now that we have that, I think they'll be able to do some things. I mean, Cole's going to be good no matter where he goes. So he's a beast. He's a smart pitcher, a thoughtful pitcher. He's a total ace. So, and he's at that special breed, just like Max Scherzer. You could put him in Sheboygan, Ohio, and he would dominate everywhere. So it's where these other guys were, good pitching coaches and good assistant coaches really, really can elevate that group and tighten the bottom to the top instead of having to lower the top to go to the bottom. You want to elevate the bottom up. So, and I'm hoping that these guys get an opportunity to do that. Pirates are a good fit with the Yankees for a trade. So the Diamondbacks, I think the Marlins are too. Those are the three most logical fits for me for Yankees and trades. Blake Rutherford, he's another one, man. Another one. Blake Rutherford, man. Yeah, the last 2 years or 3 years, the Yankees have drafted better high-end guys. So, and international signings as well. They've done much better the last 2 or 3 years. So, we haven't had a group like this for quite some time. Phil Hughes never panned out. Only a handful of credible guys. Yeah, I mean, he had a decent career, and he made some money with Minnesota, and he had a big arm, huge arm. Just never panned out with the Yankees, unfortunately. But he was on that 2009 World Series team. It was him, Jabba Chamberlain, and Ian Kennedy were supposed to be the three big new guys for the Yankees. I remember that. So, well, that's right. Daily Dose makes a good point too. There's a lot of ifs if they're healthy. If they do this, yeah, it's a lot of ifs. We need to reduce the amount of ifs and get some more, some more certainties here, or at least more reliable players. It's never 100% certainty with anybody, but reliability would be nice. Sonny Gray, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think a combination of the two, John Lee. I think he just wasn't a right fit for him. It wasn't a good fit for him. And I don't know, the right coaches and, I think it was a combination of the two. So I just, at the end of the day, it just didn't work. And he's a talented pitcher, though. He's definitely a talented pitcher, Sonny Gray. So definitely a talented pitcher. But he's doing fine in Cincinnati. But he's also drawing some interest from other teams. So I could see him being moved. I could. I would agree with you, Nick. Yeah, it's a kind of an epic fail if they don't either sign Freeman or trade for Olsen. I think that's going to be a big stain on the Yankees this offseason. I'm with you there, Nick. 100%. Ian Kennedy is another one. Betances, Manny Banuelos, Andrew Brackman. Yeah, I remember him too. 6'10" right-handed starting pitcher from like Oklahoma or something like that. So, I'm starting to report the trolls now. Monkey's uncle, man. Starting to report them. I was deleting them, but I'm reporting them now. Sanchez for some burritos. As if the burritos have chicken and steak in them, then I'd be all right. I like me some burritos, man. Lorenzo, I like some burritos. Kennedy pissed off Girardi and was sent down to the minus, never pitcher. Yeah, and then he had a pretty solid career. He's made some good money, too. Ian Kennedy. Rothschild's fault, Sonny Gray. Oh, yeah. Rothschild, yeah. He's over with the Padres now, or he was with the Padres. And that's the thing, too. He couldn't handle it. I mean, he wasn't as bad as like Jeff Weaver or Javy Baez, but he still had some talent moments. But it wasn't a fit here. This wasn't a fit, unfortunately. Bummer's another one. Aaron Bummer's got lots of years of control. He's under control until 2027. He's a reliable lefty arm who can throw multiple innings, short innings. So we need that type of versatility. So Aaron Bummer will be a nice addition here. I agree with you there, Daly. Cheers to you for bringing him up. I didn't really know much about him until you got me to notice him. So I appreciate you. Yeah, he had a tough time handling the Bronx too. He really did. Volpe could be our shortstop. He could be our second baseman. That's why I like him paired with Trevor Story, because they both play both. So they're versatile players. And then if you can have like an Oswaldo Cabrera playing multiple infield positions to back a lot of these guys up, even a third, then you'd have a jack of all trades, and you'd have a really, really talented infield, man. Really talented infield. Oh. Slade. Yeah. Nick A., thank you so much, man, for the super chat dono. Thoughts on Red Sox signing James Paxton? I think it's going to be an underrated signing. I think he'll have some good games. Yeah, don't hype and love for Nick, man. I think he's going to have some good games. I think he's going to step up against the Yankees. And I just hope he's not a difference maker like in the postseason and stuff like that. I hope he's not the guy that if the Yankees get eliminated from the playoffs, it's him that does it, because that would suck. That would really suck. But Yankees, that's why the Yankees need to get a freaking Matt Olson. Need to get some other guys here to offset the James Paxtons. If Trevor Bauer is cleared of wrongdoing, I don't know, Angel. I mean, at this point, it's too much drama, and he's missed over a year, or he's missed a year. So, I mean, talented as he is, I think he might be too much headaches for the Yankees. Plus him and Cole. I mean, Cole can't stand him. He was apparently an a-hole to Cole, so I think that would be a problem as well. But he did. I mean, the Dodgers would have to release him because he picked up his own player option for 2022. But being cleared of his wrongdoing would, at the very least, repair some of his reputation, which would be a good thing. So if he's not guilty, then he shouldn't be, punished forever. Class now. Oh, dude, Brian Taylor, Richard, dude. That guy was the most touted left pitching prospect in decades. And then what happens? He gets into a bar fight defending his brother, and he tears his pitching rotator. And he was never the same after that. But this guy was probably the greatest pitching prospect ever in baseball. And he was the Yankees' great. He was the number one draft pick when the Yankees were terrible. He was supposed to be like the Sandy Koufax and the Randy Johnson. And it just didn't happen, unfortunately. And now I think he might be in prison now for something. So, yeah. Yeah, at this point, I think, the Yankees needed Luis Castillo more than a Bauer. They need something else instead of a Bauer at this point. So, Dom, pleasure, bro. Peace out. And I'm going to be wrapping up shortly, too. Sixto's another one. Sixto's another appealing guy. Yep. Sixto's an appealing guy. One of them young Marlins pitchers. The Yankees should go after them. They really should. Yeah, Brian Taylor, I would have loved to have seen him Hirsch. But, I remember that. He was the greatest pitching prospect I've ever heard of. No. Sam Militello, wow. Taking us back, John Lee. Wow. Hope we don't trade for Chapman. Dude is a right-handed gal. Yeah, at the end of the day, they don't need Chapman. They have Gio there, so Olsen's the guy, the offensive guy to get from Oakland. He's the guy we need, man. We really need Olsen especially more than Chapman. Kyle Hendrickson, Wilson. That's definitely possible. At least for the Yankees. I would consider that for the Yankees. That would give them another reliable starting pitcher and a catcher. So I just don't know what the hell the Cubs' motivation. What are they trying to do? What are they trying to do? Nick A, thank you again, sir, man. I appreciate that, man. Surprising Yankees aren't interested in Chris. I'm with you 1,000% on that one, man, because he's versatility, plays multiple positions, and he's a stud right-handed bat. He's a great defensive player. He's an all-star former MVP. I think he would be perfect here. He'd be perfect. He really would. He really, really would. It'd be a great fit here, man. That's a good one, Nick A. And thank you again, man. Don't know hype and don't know love for you, man. Appreciate you. Gallo. Yeah, man. I hope Gallo has a better 2022. Kevin Moss. Wow. Dude. Wow. Kevin Moss. He's another one. He hit like 30 home runs in like a month and a half, and then he just completely flamed out. Never heard the guy after that. So that was reminds me that music group Linear, that Sending All My Love. They had like one hit, and then you never heard about them again. It was like Milli Vanilli, 2 songs, never heard about them again. It's one-hit wonders. He reminds me of those guys, Kevin Moss. And I remember he was a really good-looking hitter, too. The dude had light tower power. Kind of really 16 super utility guy. Who? Oswaldo Cabrera, Monkey's uncle. He should get the opportunity. If they didn't bring in Chris Taylor, Oswaldo Cabrera. Give me a young kid. He's got an elite bat. He's a good defensive player. He's versatile. He'd be the guy. Tyler Talbot, thank you, bro. For the dono, for the super chat. What do we got? Judge is not extended. Here's my trade. Judge and Chapman to the Padres for Luis Campusano, McKenzie, Gore, CJ Abrams, Ryan Weathers, Adrian Morejon. Judge and roll this. If he's not extended, if he turns down the extension, whatever, yeah, I would do it. I like that trade, Tyler. I do. I like that. That's a haul. And that's a haul. I know Abrams had a little bit of an issue with some injuries, but that's a haul. I would do that. Kenzie Gore, you'd have to get a reliable pitcher. Gore would be the guy. Some developments in Luis Campusano, an elite catching prospect. I would do that. And again, it would be tough to say bye to Judge, but like, what else are the Yankees going to do? Negotiate against themselves? If he says no to an extension, like he clearly didn't want it. He wants it for the money, so let him go. Let somebody else go overpay the guy. And again, he's one player. He can only play one position at a time. And Pasqua, wow. Ricky Leday is another one, man. Another one. 2012. Brian Taylor caught for cocaine. Yeah, Udo. Yeah. I know he went to prison. I don't know if he's still in prison or something, but Brian Taylor was busted for cocaine. And even a year ago, Estevan Loaiza, former Major League pitcher, he was like indicted on cocaine. He's in prison for like a decade. Some kind of cocaine or drug trial. I don't know what the hell it is. Heroin. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but he's in prison now too, Estevan Loaiza. Oswaldo, especially after he went deep. Yeah, man. Oswaldo, he's a good-looking player. Manuel's not a fan of Luis Castillo, huh? All right. I get it. 6-year, 186. 31 million per for Judge. I would too. I just don't think he's going to take anything under 200. Good night, James, man. Thanks for hanging out with us, bro. I'll be wrapping up in a minute. Cabrera switch here. Yes, he is. He's just a good-looking player, and I hope he gets an opportunity here. Drug trafficking. Yep. Yeah, I don't put him. I don't put Urshela that low defensively. I mean, he's good. He's a good defensive player with the Yankees. It fits here in the Bronx well. Yep, duffel bag. Yep, Emmanuel. These guys are stupid. They made so much money, and then they're trying to do so stupid. And now he's screwed. He's going to be in prison for who knows how long, decades or a decade or what a fool. It's time to move on from Urshela. I mean, don't be surprised, James, if he is included in the Matt Olson trade, especially if it's an Olson Chapman, because you can essentially swap third baseman. You know what I mean? So, the stats can be deceptive, Dale. I mean, I haven't seen many wobbly plays from Urshela. I've seen a lot more from Gleyber Torres. He saved more games than he's cost us. That's the way I look at it daily. Roderick Arias, another one. Yep. If they sign him, if that becomes official in January, then he's another beast. Shane Spencer, another guy, hitting like 25 home runs in a month and then kind of disappearing. Russell, oh my God, you guys are taking us back, baby. Russell Davis. Remember Russell Branyan? He was another one who came. He was with the Indians. He was hitting like 900-foot home runs. And then he came here, hit some of those. But I remember him. He had a cup of coffee. Shelly Duncan's another one. Another one, baby. Yeah. Hitting home runs everywhere and then just disappear. I don't understand. Crazy. Clint. Watching from Trinidad. Well, the Yankees got 2 new coaches, Clint. A new hitting coach and a new assistant pitching coach, and talking about what the Yankees should do right. Or the opinion that they need to be aggressive right out of the gates, man, like a horse race when this lockout ends. So they still need a catcher, and like a good a couple of good teams would be the Marlins, the Diamondbacks, and the Pirates. Like somebody just mentioned, Ketel Marte and Carson Kelly, Boston Wells, Luis Medina, Clark Schmidt, and then sign Eddie Rosario. Ketel and Kelly for Wells, Medina, and Schmidt. I would do that in a heartbeat, Kyle, and then sign Eddie Rosario. I think they should have already signed Eddie Rosario, but I would make that trade and that signing, Kyle. That's a good one. Yeah, Shelly Duncan was good for. This is what I mean. Danny McClain's downfall. He's another one. 30 wins. Last pitcher to win 30 games, and then it was like tax evasion or tax fraud or something. Or Danny McClain, he was also in prison for a while. Pete Rose. Yeah, I mean, Pete Rose didn't gamble when he was a player. He gambled as a manager. I don't think he should be punished. I don't think he should be kept out of the Hall of Fame anymore. So he should be in there. If you can get some juicers in there, this guy gambled as a manager. You can put him in the Hall of Fame as a player. He was one of the best hitters ever. I mean, Ty Cobb was a white supremacist, and he was like an awful person. He got in there. He was the dirtiest player in baseball history, too. He's in there. Yeah, I mean, I would agree, James. The Diamondbacks might require a little bit more, Kyle, but if you can get him for that, then that's pure magic from Brian Cashman. Absolute magic. I'm not surprised with Torres. He's a very shaky defender at shortstop. He's better at second base, but then again, DJ is better than Torres at second base defensively. So I could see Torres being moved in an Olsen trade. Pete Rose, yeah, man. Melito, oh my God, I remember him too. Glenn Hill, he looked like a Hulk. Remember Glenn Hill? He was hitting these 1,000-foot home runs, but that's all he could do. He was at a strikeout. He couldn't play the field because he was so big he couldn't even run. So you had to thank you. You're always a pleasure, brother. Always a pleasure. He needed like a scooter out there to go chase the balls when they were hit. because he couldn't run. So, yeah, I mean, at this point, Bonds was great before he even. And this is the thing too, Bonds, he never failed the drug test. Never failed the drug test. So, again, Bonds should probably be in there. Pete Rose should be in there. And he gambled when he was a manager, not a player. So, Pat Kelly, oh my God. Steve Sachs, remember him? LeMahieu, 63. Yeah, see, I don't buy into much of that percentile stuff because he's reliable, DJ. He's reliable. That's like these are some of the analytics that kind of don't include the human factor. So Glenn Hill was a giant. He was like a Hulk. Yeah. Steve Balboni, dude, that right there. He looked like Ron Jeremy in the Yankees uniform. Remember that? The stash, like. Oh my God, Steve Balboni's another one. You guys are taking us back here. I love it. Babe Ruth, yeah. Babe Ruth was also out there eating hot dogs and drinking beer in the field. He was just a big fat slob, but he was the greatest baseball player ever. No, not even close with all the stuff he did. Bonds, 3-time MVP before he. Yeah, exactly. Ron, exactly. 3-time MVP. He was a 30-30 guy. Like, he was a Hall of Fame trajectory anyway. And I could see his 73 home run, not being ratified or whatever, or his 756 not being ratified, but he's done enough to get in the Hall of Fame. Phelps is another one, and then they traded him to Seattle. They traded Jay Buhner to Seattle for Ken Phelps. And like Jay Buhner turned out to be a Yankee killer, and Phelps didn't really do much. Another one. Oh my God. Mike Blowers. You got Mike Stanley. Remember Mike Stanley, the catcher? Like a good year or two, and Ron Hussey died. Joe Charbonnet. Yeah, oh my God. This is a trip down memory lane. This is a great live stream. I love this. Bonds never failed a drug test because at the time MLB wasn't all that interested in busting. Well, that's the thing. Yeah. Yep. And even when Mark McGwire tested positive for androstenedione, it was to help recovery. It wasn't banned at the time, but he developed a reputation as a juicer. And keep in mind, like Bonds looked like me when he first came in. Okay, 170 pounds, athletic. He looked like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson when he left. Huge difference. McGwire was already a Hulk when he started here. In 49 home runs as a rookie, he was a monster already, and he stayed that way. So, it's just crazy. Matt Noakes, another one, catcher. I was at Jim Abbott's no-hitter at Yankee Stadium. Matt Noakes was the catcher that day, and they were celebrating. They brought champagne out to the field. That was awesome. He was Abbott's catcher that day. I will never forget that. Jay Johnstone, another one. Rougned Odor, solid defensive at second base. He was terrible at third. Kevin Moss, Ron Kittles. Oh, man. Scott Kamenecki. You guys, you guys make this is so entertaining. This is so much fun. I love this, man. Monkey's uncle, thank you, bro. I appreciate that, man. This is what makes it fun, man. This is what makes it fun. Like, take it off doesn't matter, but like trip down memory. Look at all the people we're remembering. You guys are bringing us back, like Paul Blair, Brian Doyle, like Jesus, Mark Salas, Lou Garrett. Like, look at all the people you're bringing up. Dale Murray, Chris, like what the God. The Toad. Oh God, yeah. The fat Toad, Hideki Irabu. Mm-hmm. Is that who you're talking about? Steve Trout. Good luck. Andy Hawkins. Yeah, Odor's I think gonna be solid for the Baltimore Orioles. Nolan Ryan put broken razor blades in his taped wrist and cut baseballs in his career. Did he really, Anthony? I did not know that. It's the first I've ever heard that one. Bonds hand-eye, legendary. Yeah, and steroids don't help your hand-eye coordination. It doesn't help you hit a 98-mile-an-hour Randy Johnson slider. So, George Zabar, Andy Hawkins, Lee Gutter. I remember Gutterman. Irabu, not an insignificant fact, but he committed suicide a couple years ago. He hung himself. Hideki Irabu. No, for those that don't know, he hung himself. Whitey Ford. Well, Whitey Ford, he was pretty decent. Whitey Ford. The Toad, man. Greg Bird, another one, dude. Another one. Eric Plunk, Chris Paramelli. Wow. Walden thought would be batting title. Oh, yeah. Who the hell is that? It'll come to me. Joe. Let me think about that one. Chris Carter's another one. You know, he came from other teams, but the Astros, and he had that light tower power. He hit a couple home runs, but he struck out. That's all he did. And then he couldn't do anything else. It's like another Glenn Hill, but not as big. Bonds, yep. Top 5 of all time. I would agree. How many people are going to vote for Ortiz with 55 career and not A-Rod? Yeah, exactly. Griminator. Don't get me wrong, Ortiz was clutch with Boston, but he was not very good with Minnesota. He was an absolute Yankee killer, but you know what helped him make him so much better was Manny Ramirez. Him and Manny Ramirez was one of the most fearsome duos I've ever seen in my whole life. Good night, Lori. Thank you so much, and we'll see you during the week. Have a great night. Old Hoss Roburn. Oh, I remember 1880s. Jesus. Daly's taking us back, man. It was the Clintons. Cohen's perfect. I was at Cohen's perfect game with my mom. Yep. Rain delay, yup, against the Expos. Rondell White was there. I actually met Rondell White at the Copacabana in New York when he was with the Yankees. When he just came to the Yankees, I met him. He was so cool. So cool. Yeah, I mean, playing catch with a friend in my backyard as a kid. Yeah, that was a special game. It really was a special game. It's Mel Hall, another one. He had the legit Jerry curls. He had some of that soul glow from Coming to America. He was legit. Ruben Sierra had the most legendary home run trot. Oscar Gamble, Claudel. God. Ruben Sierra. Was Sierra cool? Tartable's another one, man. He had good offensive power, but he was like another one that was kind of disappointing. Like Jesse Barfield. Remember him? He had a cannon for an arm. One of the best arms I've ever seen, with the exception of Vlad Guerrero. I've never seen a better arm than Guerrero. Tulowitzki? Yeah, he was a very talented player. I wish he would have stayed healthy. He would have had a great career. Shot himself in the foot when he complained that all the Yankees care about is winning. Yeah, I know. It was kind of a foolish comment. That was a really foolish. Yeah, Ortiz a PED guy. All the classic symptoms. Yeah, and he also failed a test, so did Manning. So that doesn't help them. Good night, Hillel. Yeah, keep message me, Hillel, and then we'll put all the final details for tomorrow together. Message me on Instagram, bud. Get some rest, bud. LaTroy Hawkins, another one, man. Darryl Strawberry, Chris Strawberry. I mean, he had some great moments, man. He's the guy I was trying to remember. He got in trouble for stealing Derek Jeter's glove or something. He stole something from Derek Jeter. I don't remember what that was, but I remember he got in some trouble for that. And I think they released him after that, but it might have been his glove. And he was trying to sell it or something. I don't know what the hell it was, but he was another talent. Judge for Didi, Real Muto, 2 top prospects from Philly. Intriguing. Depends on who the 2 prospects are. Man, Real Muto would be a killer return, but who are the Phillies going to replace him with? Judge for Didi and Real Muto and 2 top prospects. I like these trade proposals for Judge, man. That's so many people so hostile against trading Judge, but I get it's unpopular. I get it, but can't hamstring themselves either. So they've got to do it right. We got to make sure they do it right. Dwight Evans. He was my first baseball glove in Little League. I had it as a grease, and then I put the baseball and folded it and rubbing this stuff, and it was my Dwight Evans Boston Red Sox glove, Todd B. My first Little League glove ever. Ruben was Mariano's cousin. Yeah, I heard that too. G. Lloyd, you talking about Graham Lloyd? He was solid here. Remember him? Him and Jeff Nelson attacked Armando Benitez for plunking Tino Martinez in the back. I remember that. Wayne Tollefson, Dan Pasqua, you guys are unbelievable. This is so good. Steve Howe, another one. He was like coked up on the mound all the time, Steve Howe. He's also dead. Don Slaught. Oh my God. Trade Stanton over Judge, more value. Big boy. Oh man. Who would you trade? Big boy, who would you trade Stanton to? I really like Stanton. So, I really want to know what's your thoughts. Like, who do you think we can send him to, and what would you want back, big boy? Do a lot of no-hitter in the games, lost Indians. Oh, yeah, I remember that too, Tyler Talbot. Henry Cotto. Sign Freeman, Rodon, and use the prospects for Contreras and Reynolds. I mean, I like, very aggressive offseason. I like this, man, because they're adding a lot of value to the Yankees. Matt, good work, man. Brian Boringer, Xavier Nady. He's another one that had a lot of talent, man. Brian Taylor was the most talented pitcher I've ever seen prospect-wise, and then he got hurt in a bar fight protecting his brother, and he tore his shoulder up, and he was never the same. Yeah, and I don't think Girardi will trade JT either. He's the gamer. So, Bobby Meacham, Tim Foley, Toby Harrah, Ron Hassey. You guys are some serious baseball aficionados, some baseball nerds. I love this. I love Andy Fox. Damn. Any talk of some former duos? Bannett box starts with Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig was out. That's just at the very top. Modern day, to me, it was Manny and Ortiz, and the duo for pitchers is Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling. Modern day. They were like unstoppable when they were with Arizona together. Absolutely unstoppable. Paul Zuvello, remind No Rivera, Alan Craig, Orestes Destrade. Yeah, Corey Lytle, rest in peace, man. Crashed his plane into that building. Butch Weininger, Stanton to the Rangers for Semien. Good one, Richard. Alvaro Espinoza, defensively gifted shortstop. He was like an Andrelton Simmons. He couldn't hit for shit, but he was like a legendary glove. And he had those glasses. You know those bifocals he had? He kind of had looked like Louis Skolnick from Revenge of the Nerds at shortstop. It's fantastic. Fantastic. Chuck Knobloch. Oh, God, yeah. Chuck Knobloch, you hit a ground ball to second base and you throw it into the first base stands 11 rows in. So you might as well just get out of the way if you're the freaking first baseman because he's not throwing it anywhere. Just go stand in the stands. That's where he's going to, he had the yips. He had this like a mental block and he couldn't throw the ball anywhere near the first baseman. At least he could hit. Tom Tresh. Wow. I remember Tom Tresh. Luke Voigt. Modern day Wally Pipp. Yeah. Tony Fernandez. Another defensively gifted shortstop. Fred Stanley, the chicken. Paul Blair. Wow. Bobby Mercer died next door to my GMA's hospital room. Oh, wow, Anthony. Wow. Yeah, Jesus Montero. We traded him for Michael Pineda, Seattle. He was a super highly touted prospect, catching prospect too. Is what I mean. Like, didn't pan out. So send Voigt to the moon. Rafael Santana, another one. He was a shortstop, right? Was he a shortstop? If I remember correctly, I think so. Jason Dominguez, legit or another. I think it's still too early to tell, Todd. He's only 18. We got to give him another year or two to see how he kind of progresses because you have to look for those signs of progressing through the system. Like Volpe right now, he's just exploding through each level of the minors. So you could tell he's adapting nicely. We need more time with, at least in my opinion, more time to find out how real Dominguez is. He definitely has, talent, like ridiculous power and intangibles, but we need to see how he's got to improve in other areas. He's got to become more well-rounded, and I want to see how he does at the next level. So, because he struggled a little bit, but his talent's definitely there. Banuelos, Betances, Brackman, yeah, man. Yep. John the Count Montefusco. Oh my God. Dominguez is 18. That's why he's young, so we need to give him some time. Jimmy Key was good here. Scott Brocious. Love them. Jim Leyritz, but yep, Jim Leyritz was a clutch hitter. John Candelaire, oh my God, I remember him, lefty pitcher. Dominguez has all the tools, but yep, that's right, exactly. Roderick Arias has a chance to be. Yeah, they're calling him the next Juan DeFranco, so I would sign up for that in a heartbeat, Tyler. In a heartbeat, brother. Bob Shirley. We're going to get the best prospect in January for me. Yep, Roderick Arias. Yep. What do I think about getting Conforto on a one-year deal? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. It's going to have to, cost more than the qualifying offer, but maybe. He could be value. He could have some value here. But I wouldn't choose him over acquiring or bringing in Suzuki for, a good 4-year deal or trying to get Bryant Reynolds. He would not be my first pick, but he'd have some value here. And he's familiar with New York, so that's good too. Put Munson in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, Munson definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I wish Mattingly had a couple more good, healthy years. I think he would have been in the Hall of Fame too. Dennis Rasmussen, John Monfusco. I hope he's terrific for the Yankees. I really do. Bob Tewksbury. Oh my God, Rick. Oh man, Ankiel. Yeah, he was another one. This tantalizing talent, and he was just too many. He was just too wild. He was too crazy. Couldn't pitch. He couldn't locate the plate, but he had a good bat. He was definitely a talent. Jesse Barfield. Yeah, man, one of the best arms I've ever seen. O'Neal Cruz. Yep. Gonna be legit, 100%. Anki went to high school with my wife. Oh, that's pretty cool. It's definitely one of the best prospects, hype prospects in a long time. Jeff Johnson and Wade Taylor. Wow. Randy Velarde. Do I think Gardy's number will be? That's a good question. I'm not sure, Daily Dose. Right in the middle of that. He'll have a Brett Gardner day. I just don't know if they're going to retire his number yet. It's a good question. I'm right down the middle on that. I do know some people who want to retire. I know some people who just want him gone too. So, yeah. Chen-Ming Wang, won 19 games 2 years in a row with the Yankees and then suffered a Lisfranc frank injury, which is something on the top of your foot. And then he was never the same. He couldn't pitch properly. So that affected his step off and his positioning as a pitcher. So, but he was really good, Chen-Ming Wang. Favorite player from the 90s? Not a Yankee? Ken Griffey Jr. Yeah, I think Ken Griffey Jr. At the end of the day, I think the Yankees will bring Brett Gardner back, Stephen. I don't want them to, but I think they will. Jack Clark, tantalizing power numbers. Is another one, man. They report about Correa in his back. I heard that they're not. I heard that Seymour that Correa and his agent or his agents basically saying that you're not seeing his medicals unless you have a gigantic offer on the table, which to me sounds a little seedy. I would, that's why I'm more confident with the Trevor Story signing. Am I a fan of any of the teams in the Yankees? Yeah, I like the Kansas City Royals. I like to root for them. Who else? Kansas City Royals. The Milwaukee Brewers. I like them. Well, those are probably my two favorites. My two of non-Yankee favorites. Daily Dose. Can't remember the name. It was an outfielder who quit after a game in Fenway, went AWOL. Quit after a game in Fenway, went AWOL. Kareem Garcia? I could be wrong. Good question, Noodle. Chen-Ming Wang had a nice documentary on Netflix. Roland Office. Oh my God. Showalter for me. He's got a good shot at being the Mets manager. Maybe a good one. Dominguez could get us a very good center fielder. Yes, he could. Brian Reynolds comes to mind. Is the only one that comes to mind for me with Dominguez. Lincoln and Yankee on block throwing gifts to the passing of their. I mean, it could be. It could very well be. Joel Skinner, another one. The catching prospect. Wow. Brian Boyd. Wow. You guys know your history. Agreed, Daly. Allen over Gardner. Memorabilia. Do I own out some bats, some baseballs, some old rookie cards? I have a Mickey Mantle card. I got a bunch of stuff. I'll actually share some of it with you guys on one of the live streams. I'll show you what I have. And once I get my Yankee YouTube station down in my basement, once I finish my basement, you'll see my backdrop and you'll see a bunch of memorabilia I'm going to put up. So you'll definitely be able to enjoy it a little bit more because I definitely want to put that stuff up. Bo Jackson was Bo Jackson was fantastic. Such a special player. New York needs to get Olsen and Chapman. Same team you got Mr. October from. Yeah. Olsen and Chapman would be lovely, man. I mean, I would love Olsen and Montez, but I don't know. I know they're motivated to change to lower payroll. You know, if they would absorb a Chapman contract and make it easier, he'd still have value here in New York. Chris Sable from the Reds with the Sable had the legit glasses. Dave Kingman, another one, home run king. Christian Parker, Trevor Story. He's my pick too. It's been my pick for months now. Signed a photo for you, Rich. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Well, they'd have to trade for Whit Merrifield. He's got 2 years of control left with the Royals, but if you get Merrifield, I think you should go from MJ Melendez to their top, highly touted catching prospect. Try to do a combo trade, but I like Merrifield. I do. I really do. I had to sign Correa or trade for Olsen or sign Freeman to get Story. Either one of those combinations would be legit. I mean, I would love Story and Olsen. That would be my personal preferred duo. So, I understand why the Yankees not to Nader is out there. I've been pushing Rosario for a little bit now. I mean, he's underrated. He's very versatile. He's a good base runner. He's an elite defender. So he's a gamer. He's a good stolen base guy. It's just that energy, man. We need that type of stuff. Yep. So I'm with you there. Can I include my email address at the end of tonight's live chat? My email address? You want to send me something, Monkey's Uncle? Or you tell me, get me to look at something? If you wanted, Monkey's Uncle, if you have an Instagram, go to my Instagram, diehard Yankee fan 447, and send me a message, an IM or a DM, and I'll send you my email. If you don't mind. MJ Melendez, man, he's a good attract. He's an attractive prospect, man. So Daly, I'm glad you looked at him, man. You and I do our homework, dude. K-Tel will be nice. K-Tel will be nice. Chapman, yeah, that's the thing. I don't think he's that much of an upgrade over Urshela. I keep Urshela at that point because he's much cheaper. Soriano, wow. Well, we traded Alfonso Soriano for A-Rod. And for those that don't know, the reason we got A-Rod is because Aaron Boone, who was the current third baseman, after he hit that home run and put him in the World Series, he tore his ACL that offseason playing basketball, forcing the Yankees to make a move. And then they sent Soriano to Texas for A-Rod. That's what happened. So Boone is one of the guys that led to the A-Rod trade. Jeremy Giambi's another one. He got on base, though. He walked a lot, so... But you're right, he couldn't hit worth anything. Ross Ollendorf, oh my God, Hal Morris. Ryan Fisher, you guys are legends with the information. Steve Kemp. Oh my God. You guys are the best. But I am going to wrap it up. And I want to get some rest. I had a super long day. But I want to thank you guys for coming on and gals for coming on. I appreciate the support. Hopefully I'll see you Wednesday night for the live stream. Let's have some more fun. And then again, Monkey's Uncle, reach out to me on Instagram at Diehard Yankee Fan 447. Just send me a DM. I'll get it to you. All right. Melendez is blocked by Sal Perez, meaning all the more reason for the Yankees to get him. But have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you as always. You are the best. 161 Mafia. Over and out.